I'm David Elkind. I'm a professor emeritus of child development at Tufts University. And I wanted to talk about play, but how my ideas of play were influenced by Freud and by Jean Piaget. I became acquainted with Freud with all my clinical training, and then Piaget from David Rapaport, whom I was a research assistant. And one of the things that always struck me that Freud said, that what do you need to live a full and happy life? And he said, Leben und Arbeiten, loving and working. And when you ask Piaget, he would say, assimilation and accommodation, play and work. And so when you took those two geniuses of our developmental psychology together, you get that what we need for a full and happy life was play, love, and work. And that's the kind of basis of the book, The Power of Play, that I think rather than thinking of play and work as sort of opposition, they really complement one another. As Piaget said, there's no assimilation without accommodation, no accommodation without assimilation. There's no play without work and work without play. What he meant was that we can never just learn something which is completely outside ourselves. Anytime we learn anything, there's a bit of ourselves and a bit of something else. Even in the most rote things that we may do on an assembly line, we still put something of ourselves in it. And that something of ourselves is always play. Play is always the transformation of the environment in the service of the self, and work is always transformation of the self in the service of the environment. And so that they're always together, and the important thing is, and the best kind of learning, the best kind of living is when we can accommodate them all three at once. And the best example, of course, is art. The artist is always contributes something, takes something of himself, something of herself, and something out from the outside. A painting always reflects both the painter's individuality and also the external worlds. It's something social and personal at the same time, and that's the best of play. And that's why artists love what they're doing, and you have the best results in any kind of work when people love what they're doing, and that they not only reflect something of themselves, whether it's their creative ideas, but also what they do serves mankind. It's social at the same time, and that's why I think even in our schools, the best education and the most learning takes place when it's fun, when kids are enjoying themselves. So I think sometimes we want to make these two as an opposition, but in fact they're always together. And what happens as we grow older, they tend to get separated, but even in adults, if we look at baseball or football, it's a collective transformation. Everybody collectively transforms that ball, which is really relatively meaningless and worthless, into something very important. So even in our games and our collective sports and so on, we're still doing both the social and the individual. We're sort of transforming that piece of leather into something very important. So I think the important thing about learning and education in our lives in general is if we can try to bring together the adaptation to the world, and also the adaptation of the world to ourselves. That has to be, and we do it best in music and art, but we can do it also in anything that we do, no matter what we do, how meager or mild or mundane it is. I've seen a janitor in an airport whistling and singing, making that activity important to himself, and someone in an assembly line does it very differently. Two people working in a department store respond very differently to how their job. So we always impart something of ourselves into everything we do, and the important thing in learning in life is to try to do that in ways which are benefit not only ourselves but the external world as well.